Was there any key topics that you wanted to go over, or is it just like the hot stuff? Let's see. There's a lot going on now. Okay, that's good. Just don't understand. Yeah, I'm thankful that the Xbox guys I hang out with don't feel that way. Uh, but I've seen that on Twitter. Yeah, I just can't wrap my head around it. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Really, neither of us. Ah, yeah, that is weird. They can hear me. I have broken the system.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another BRAP. It's Wednesday night. We have a lot to talk about. And with me, I have a special returning guest, Creative Kofi, who's actually a fellow member of the DMV, or DMV Gamers, as I like to refer to us as. But what's up, Kofi? Welcome back to BRAP, sir. It's been a while since we had you on, man.
Yeah, it has been a while, man. I am so glad to be back. It is a great time to be a gamer, especially this year. I feel like the first 4 months, 5 months has been fantastic. Yeah, I've been gaming a lot. I had to slow down a lot of my gaming last year, so I've started a revenge tour, and I finished. I think I've already finished 6 RPGs since the top of the year, so I'm very happy. That of course includes games like Horizon and Wolong. I mentioned those because I don't know if you want to call those RPGs. So yeah, it's been great, and I'm excited for these topics.
Yeah, no, it's definitely great to have you back on, man. And it's we share the love for a particular franchise publisher, and that is the Atlas God. So it's always nice to podcast with somebody who appreciates all things Atlas and Vanillaware. By the way, I throw that in there too. And
Amen.
who's the other one? What's the developer behind Falcom? Is it Falcom?
Oh yeah, it's Falcom for the Trail series. Yep.
For the Trail series, yes. So yes, you have great taste in video games, sir.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you, man. I try. I do. I don't only do dude bro shooters like everyone says. Oh, you're just a dude bro. You play Halo and Call of Duty. No, I enjoy a variety of different games. So anyhow, but we also have with us Game Logic. What's going on, Game Logic? Game Logic's there. I guess maybe Game Logic stepped away. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah, not so much, guys. How are you?
Good, man. Good. It's weird. So we started the stream. We had the stream starting screen up, and people are like, "We hear someone speaking," and somehow Kofi broke. I don't know how you did it, Kofi, but somehow you broke Streamlabs where people could hear you talking, even though I had you muted. So, someone's saying both their voices are echoing a little. Let us know. Yeah, sorry about that, Zala7. If you guys let me know if it's who's echoing or if you're still hearing it or if anyone else is hearing the echo. Kofi's reached the fourth dimension according to Lord Metroid. But yeah, Atherin, if anyone else is experiencing the echo, let me know. They're saying Logic and Kofi's echoing. All right. I wonder if it's just Atherin who's having that issue, but if anyone else. Oh, Kurtov said Game Logic and Kofi are echoing. That's weird. Let me see something real quick. I wonder if this is a no, everything's set up right. I don't know. This is weird. I wonder if it's there might be some kind of issue with YouTube. Maybe I have no idea. I don't know what's happening. All right, some people are saying they don't hear an echo. All right, we'll have to figure. We'll try to figure out what's going on. But Kofi, I think you broke YouTube, and I think you broke Streamlabs, man.
Sure did.
Yeah, but anyhow, Game Logic's back. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. This is yeah. So I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know what's happening. Nothing's really changed on my end in terms of the voice channels or anything like that. It could be a YouTube or Streamlabs situation. I don't know, and I apologize. Anyhow, all right. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by. Please do me a favor, retweet the link and let everyone know we're live. And please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. Yeah, Mike S says YouTube has been so buggy the last 2 days. Oh, really? That's good to know, Mike S. I think Logic, you had some issues with YouTube, I think. Was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago on my own podcast, and we just had to shift over to Streamlabs, to StreamYard. Sorry,
StreamYard. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, what's up, Nate?
And not problems with YouTube, but problems with Discord.
Oh, with Discord. Okay, yeah. I mean, maybe it's a Discord issue too. Who knows? Gosh, software so can be so unreliable at times, but it is what it is. So we have a lot of news to talk about. We have some big PlayStation Showcase news. If you have been listening to the channel, you may have heard B Money talking about a PlayStation Showcase around the last week in May, and in fact, that's going to happen next Wednesday. Actually, the same day we broadcast live. So next week we're going to do a breakdown and discuss everything that Sony showed during their showcase. It's going to be about a 60-minute showcase, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. We're also going to talk about Xbox fans, for whatever reason, comparing Zelda to Redfall. Kofi and I were talking about it before we went live, and yes, I was called a hypocrite on Twitter and because I was playing a 30 FPS game. But we're going to talk about that and discuss how it's not really the same and how people need to, I don't know, try to understand that there's a difference between new hardware. Anyhow, people need to understand the expectations consumers have of particular products. And so we'll talk about that as well. And we're also going to discuss Some Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because I've been playing that, and it's just an amazing game. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it, and I can't stop playing it. And hats off to Nintendo for making for releasing such a great game. This might be one of the best games this console generation, or I should say, one of the best games during the Switch's life cycle. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But I do want to go to what everyone's playing right now, and everyone probably assume what I'm playing. But I'm going to go to our guest here, Creative Kofi. Kofi, what are you playing right now, man?
So I have just come off finishing the platinum for Horizon Forbidden West. I have Burning Shores installed. I actually just launched it today. I have not done a single thing with it, but just going back to the trials with Forbidden West, I loved it so much. So I'm really excited to see what the next adventure holds. But the majority of my time has been playing Star Ocean: The Divine Force. Of course, people know that Star Ocean is a long-lasting series since the Super Famicom, and the sixth game came out last October, and it did not do great on Metacritic. I'll be very honest, and its sales were also not that impressive, and it's very bittersweet because I really like this entry in the series. It being the sixth game, Star Ocean is kind of not been impressive, I would say, in the last 10 years. The last game that came out, Starship 5, I think it was 2015, 2016, very low budget. It felt like corners were cut where the story could have impactful moments with character interactions, and everything was kind of almost like you were playing an MMO from 2012. Just, you might see some voices, but there wasn't any close-up shots or any sort of emotion shown between characters for a majority of the game. So this is a complete turnaround. And when I play a Star Ocean game, I want to experience a lot of conflicts that happen. I hate to make a reference to this, but to Star Trek, where, let's say Starship Enterprise might discover a planet that is not capable of understanding technology. And I think delving into the challenges of how you adapt to a type of culture that does not you do not want to disturb their process, right? Starship should always challenge that, and it's been a conflict since the first game. But I think this game does it particularly well. The combat is really cool. You can kind of use a tool called Duma to fly, or I guess you could say briefly glide. And you can use that in combat. You can use that in exploration, so it adds a 3D element to every map that you're on. There's just a lot of really cool things that they did, and then all of the old things that you love about Star Ocean, whether it's crafting or secret endings with different characters or characters that you can only get in one playthrough, you have to play the game multiple times. All that's back. So it feels like Tri-Ace is one of their best games. That's the coolest thing, that the original developer way back in the Super Famicom is still the team in charge of the series. What is it, like 30, 25 years later? Something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great.
That's that I haven't played Star Ocean, I think, since Star Ocean 3, maybe? Is that PlayStation 2?
Till the end of time.
Was that
Yeah,
PlayStation
PS2.
2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's a good one.
Yeah, I don't remember much because I was partaking in extracurricular activities while I was playing. That's kind of what I used to do. Yeah. So that was, yeah, anyhow. But no, I wasn't aware that it was the same development team that was behind Star Ocean, this version of Star Ocean. So that's pretty cool.
It's really, yeah.
Yeah. So did the game, do you feel like the Metacritic scores, the reviews, do you feel like they were kind of spot on to your gameplay experience with Star Ocean?
I think they dinged the game for bad performance. And fortunately, it has been patched. I can't speak for the PS4 version, but the PS5 version and the Xbox Series X version now runs much smoother at 60 frames per second. And I remember playing the demo. And the first open area, I was, frowning. I'm like, oh man, this, not only is it not 60, but it's just inconsistent, right? Jumping somewhere between 30 and 60 all the time. So I was, preparing for disappointment when I finally started the game. and then it wasn't there. I was like, oh wow, they actually came back and fixed it. Even though this game had no DLC, at least they stayed true to at least the vision on PS5 or current gen systems. Um, and I think that's the majority factor. Some of the story beats might be the other reason why reviewers heard it, but to me, this is what I want out of a Star Ocean game. If five didn't do it that well, this also is one of the most mature male. I mean, male or female, but mature leads. You know, usually you get an angsty teenager who uh, is what do you call it, ignorant to certain things. Raymond is not like that, and Letitia is also equally, you know, competent. Neither of them are awkward in that kind of way. So I kind of like that. They're both experienced too. One is a princess, the other one has his own, you know, starship, and he knows how to command it. It's not like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And there's really cool moments where they kind of like flex their knowledge. Um, I can't think of any Star Ocean game that has done that. So it's really cool.
Nice, man. Well, if I can get some time, because I did it. I do vaguely remember enjoying Star Ocean 3, but I think if I can come up for some air and get some time, I may try this game out because it kind of tugs at that nostalgia a little bit for me. I think because I think I remember playing. Oh, was it Star Ocean 3 back in 2000? Was it maybe 2003? I think it was. I don't
Yeah,
remember. Yeah, and then I
2003 or
think
2004.
was it
Yeah,
Suikoden 3? Like, wasn't that released around the same time too?
yeah, it was.
That
Yep.
was another one that I remember playing on the PlayStation 2. I remember going out. Actually, I remember going out and pick that up, and then partaking with
That
it.
was the first
Yeah,
Christmas I had my PS2 was when Suikoden 3 came out, and I just remember being moved by that, you know, anime opening. I thought that
yeah,
was so cool. I was
yeah,
like, yo, this is I have arrived. Like this is why I bought this PS2. So that was cool.
yeah. I wonder if we'll ever get another Suikoden. Probably not because it's Konami, but I'd like to see. I'd like to see them do another one if that's in the works or if that's in the cards. That'd be great. Again, kind of pulling at the nostalgic strings for me. So, real quick, I want to introduce Eric Jackson. What's up, E?
Yo, what is going on, gentlemen? How's everybody doing?
E, I gotta say, man, your Zelda collection, Tears of the Kingdom. Oh man, my FOMO
Oh
was
man,
in full mode, man. Full
I
mode.
don't let the FOMO get you, man.
I was like,
Don't let the FOMO get you, man.
I was like,
Those
I'm about to go out and
those
buy
chase
these.
notifications go off, and I'm like, what am I doing?
I hear you, man. But E, great to see you, man. Thank you for joining us tonight, man. Because we are going to talk
Nah, no
about
doubt, no.
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom here in a little bit. But E, we're talking about what games everyone on the panel is currently playing right now. What are you playing right now? I could probably take a
Right
guess,
now,
but
Zelda.
Zelda, there you go.
Right
All right.
now, yeah, to jump into Zelda. Yeah, I heard like Kofi was talking about he just platinumed Forbidden West. Actually, right before Zelda finished up the DLC Burning Shores, which was really awesome. Uh, Beautiful, beautiful game, man.
I
You
mean,
know.
right?
So yeah, yeah. And there's certain games that I love like discussions around it, whether good or bad. And I think there are games I won't call it like polarizing, but they definitely bring discussion. And I think Horizon is definitely one of those games. You can talk to 10 different people and get 10 different responses and reasons. Like some might like it, some may not like it. From all different various you know, levels. Like some people don't like Aloy, some people think the gameplay is boring, whatever the case may be. And then people who are complete fans of it, like it all around. Um, Interesting game, and I think another game like that, like the Last of Us, that like you bring them up on the timeline, they spark conversation, and I like games like that. And I definitely think Horizon fits that bill. Just praying that Sony doesn't overdo it. They seem to be very Horizon crazy right now with TV shows and VR and this rumored remaster, which okay, it's just like, don't kill the baby, man. Don't smother the baby. kind of how I think about that. But no, I finished up that DLC and just been jumping into Zelda. I'm still fairly early in Zelda. Probably only like I've only had time to get probably like 4 hours in or so far,
Okay.
4 or 5 hours.
Gotcha.
But looking to get into more.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still, I was actually playing Burning Shores before Zelda came out. I didn't finish Burning Shores. I need to get back to that. But from what I played,
Mhm.
I was really enjoying it. Actually, I think I was enjoying it a little bit more than the actual mainline game because you're really thrust into the action pretty quickly, and the pacing I think is a little bit better for me.
Yeah.
Burning Shores, but the game looks, I mean, it's stunning, visually
But
stunning.
Frozen. It's funny you say that because Frozen Wilds to me was the same thing.
Yes,
loving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great point.
I love Frozen Wild so much.
yeah. Zero Dawn is awesome, but Frozen Wilds just kind of took it and like kind of just ran with it from the story narrative. The new creatures and things like that, the new machines, I should say. So yeah, that tracks. Definitely tracks.
Yeah, yeah. So I will eventually go back to Burning Shores. God, if I get this is crazy. Like Kofi just mentioned, he's kind of on a comeback tour with gaming, and we have all these people arguing over trivial things like 30 FPS when there's so much content out. If you look at like the next couple of weeks, I mean, my goodness, if you're a multi-platform owner, I mean, you're eating very well right now. We had Burning Shores, we've had Dead Island 2, we've had Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, we have Diablo 4 coming up, we have Final Fantasy 16, we have Jedi Survivor release as well. There's just a lot of really good. I mean, Redfall, throw Redfall out there if that's, I know people are enjoying Redfall and that's out, and there's just a lot of content out there right now. It's really a great time to be a gamer.
Yeah, the only thing they haven't marketed to us is more time on how to play all this stuff.
Exactly. Someone needs to have DLC for time, or because I would buy some
Yeah.
and tell my work like, look, I just got some DLC for time, so I'm gonna go play some video games.
Yeah,
But,
it's funny too. Like we're talking about like DLCs and stuff. I think one of the funny things with when you get like a DLC, like Burning Shores or whatever, they come out so much like longer after the game has been out that your muscle memory is gone. So you have to spend at least 30 minutes or so trying to get that. Okay, what did this do again? How did I do this?
Absolute
Okay,
fact. I keep hitting the same button for map from a different game for Horizon. Like the map button on Star Ocean is L2. And I keep hitting L2, but it's like aim in
Right.
Horizon, right? I'm like, like keeps driving myself crazy.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a nightmare all over again when that Elden Ring DLC comes out.
yeah, no, it's
nothing worse in a muscle memory scenario is trying to go back to a Souls game.
I mean, I went through the same thing early on with Tears of the Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
where I was like hitting the wrong buttons. I'm like, wait a minute, this is for a different game. So
Yeah, and and the crazy thing about that too is Nintendo with their button layout that throws you off too.
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's just like I keep hitting the wrong buttons on that game as well. So
Yeah, look, people, look. Let's not trash Redfall in the live chat. People are enjoying it. Let's not pretend they're not enjoying it. So, but anyhow, everybody just joined us. Yeah, go ahead.
Are legit enjoying it, and there's nothing wrong with it. Look, I'm gonna put it like this. We'll say this. I played janky games and enjoyed janky games, right?
You loved
I played through that.
Devil's Third.
Werewolf Apocalypse. I played through that about a year ago. That's pretty janky. Some of those janky games can give you some old school vibes and some old school feels, right? So there are probably people who for them this may be their first arcane game and they're actually enjoying it because some of the stuff that's there in Redfall is actually not bad. Like the concept is really cool. For me personally, I just said I'm not doing this because there's too many other things out. First of all, right? So I'm not going to force myself through that game, and I know arcane's better than this.
And EJ, when you play a janky game, are you honest with yourself as to whether or not that game is janky, or do you feel like it's biased media or people console warring, unjustly calling the game janky?
No, I'm real with it. Like, yeah, this is jank. This is like
Thank you.
This because logic, those two things can be the same. You can play and admit that it's janky and say I'm still enjoying it. It's a hot mess, but I'm still enjoying it, right?
Brap, what do I say on the show almost every single week?
I mean, what he just said. These two states of being can coexist.
Exactly.
And
it is possible in gaming for two states of being to coexist.
And that's
and
the
gamers
problem.
Cannot get their heads wrapped around that.
Yeah, what is that like? Like it's like we know what it is. We know what it is. It's like I gotta prop up.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta wave that flag.
So yeah, I gotta make sure I mean, I saw dudes just reaching. It's the number 13, this and that. I'm like, yo, that's not the flex you think it is. Like, just go play it. If you're really enjoying it, go play it. Enjoy it. You don't have to like convince other people. And you don't have to come at other people for playing something else.
Exactly.
Or keeping that same energy. It's like, look, you're gonna keep energy. Focus that energy where it belongs. And right now, it belongs not on other people and what they're playing and what they're deciding to play. It really all right now needs to be on a particular company.
Yep.
And that goes across the board. If other ones are stepping on the rate, stop trying to keep energy with people who you don't even know their real name online. You know their avatar. So they have no real bearing on you. So what are you trying to keep energy about? It's going to make you feel better?
Stop.
If some random other nobody says, yeah, you know what, you're right about that. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change the state of the company who messed up. They still messed up. That reality is still there.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I shout out to the people who are truly enjoying Redfall, not the cappers, because I know there are people out there pushing the agenda. I just know Arcane is much more capable than that game that they put out. Now, if it was like me I didn't have anything to really play, and it was like a little slow for me, which is definitely not the case right now, I pushed through Redfall. I played jankier games than that. But again, that's hard for me to do coming from the teams responsible for some of my favorite games.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I've had to go from the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse to now me having to add a 5th studio. So it's now 5 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Oh my goodness! All right, real quick, E, I want to introduce B Money. B, what's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas?
Yo, what up, B? Beastradamus in the house.
Yeah, B. What'd you call him, Beastradamus?
Beastradamus.
Well, B, I mean, yeah, look, man, we got to give you your just due, sir. You were right.
I mean, I've been trying to tell people for a couple months now. Like I said before on the show, I mentioned this even before Grub said it. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I'm just glad that
your glory, man.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's cool though. I'm not trying to be a superstar or nothing like that. But I did say this before Grub said it, and once again I was right. If you look at my track record, 90% of the time the things I say come true.
Really quick, just to catch up. So, how did you predict the date? How close were you?
I was in a 2-week span. Like I didn't have the exact date. I knew it was going to be either mid or late May. I knew it was going to be announced after Mother's Day, which, like I said last week, that they would make the announcement this week, and lo and behold, they did. And now we got the date, the 24th.
Yep. There you go. So so B, what are you playing right now, man?
I'm just playing Tears of the Kingdom, man.
We're gonna talk about that here in a second.
The only thing I'm playing right now. I'm probably like maybe 15, 20 hours in.
Oh wow! Okay.
Just running around, just using things together, figuring out ways to get to different locations. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, me too.
A lot more than I did with the original game. Just because of the fuse stuff that you have, kind of like right at the beginning. Like they basically give all of your like main powers or whatever. Like you get the Infinity Gauntlet kind of early. You know what I mean? So you kind of have everything you need within like the first 5-10 hours of the game. So it's pretty fun. I'm having a really good time with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Well, and we're going to talk about Tears of the Kingdom here in a little bit. But Game Logic, I want to go to you. What are you playing right now, man?
Well, let me first of all say that as soon as I came into the BRAP chat for the show, I felt attacked because I heard you guys were trying to shame Dude Bro Gamers. So I see how it's going to be tonight, but that's what I'm on. I'm a Dude Bro.
Look, man, when you shame me for going to Walmart, sir, you
not
ahead,
just Walmart, but also Best Buy.
Yes, go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I've been playing MLB The Show 23 on PlayStation 5, Dead Island 2 on PC, and also still plugging away through Season 3 of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on PC.
Nice. All right, I gotta get back to. I keep saying I gotta get back to Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Man, you know what's wild? Like,
Yeah.
Not to cut logic off. Dead Island 2, I had initially no desires on that game, right? Because I really didn't like the first game. I did not like Dead Island 1. And, being that the game was in development hell and everything else, I was like, yeah, sounds like par for the course, right? Just like watching people on the timeline and like, previews and reviews and getting, get people playing the game or whatever, I'm like, that might be a cop later on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a good like like if you got a 3-day weekend and you're just trying to kind of while some time away. Like when I mean, it's definitely a side dish, right? It's not a main course. So keep eating away at that Tears of the Kingdom joint. That's definitely going to fill you up. But when you get some free time, or
yeah, that's what it looked like. It looks like one of those games we would have, like back in the day, like 360, PSP. Like you kind of pick it up and run through it over the weekend or something like that, and just have like that quick good time with it.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised because I mean when you say 360, I'm guessing you didn't mean in terms of like its technical performance or graphical fidelity.
No. Just like when we got those types of games, and more so in that space, like. It didn't have to be considered quote unquote. I know it's considered AAA. I'm guessing from the budget of it and everything. But I'm saying it's just that sort of game where it just sort of hits those notes. It doesn't have to sort of just. I don't want to put it down to like mindless fun, but it's just that game you just pick up, have a good time with. Sit back, kind of snuck in on you type game. That's what it kind of looks like to me.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know. I kind of feel like it is AA. I'm gonna have to kind of check myself for the next few months because I wonder if I feel that like just anything that I see coming from Embracer Group, I'm just gonna immediately label as AA. That's just kind of what I feel it is. But I mean, but I was mentioning to BRAP earlier this week. I'm actually really surprised that in some places, in some cases, like fire effects and water effects has been a thing that I have felt haven't been that up to par in Jedi Survivor. And I was mentioning, for a team like Respawn, with a team that big and a budget, I mean, Jedi Survivor is a fun game. That's just like, that's a nit that I'm like, I feel like that could have been a little tighter. But then I played Dead Island 2, and I'm like, oh, looks like the fire and water effects look surprisingly better than I would have expected from, a AA game, from Deep Silver with a team that size and a budget that like, what they would have had. So it's got some sparkly, shiny edges to it that for people who are fans of that genre, will harken to. A small nit that bugs me is I don't know why it's called Dead Island when it takes place in LA, but I don't know. Maybe there's something further down in the road. I'm not that far into the game, so maybe it shifts venue. But I just thought that was kind of weird as I started running around Bel Air.
Gotcha.
All right. Let's talk about. Actually, before I move on, are those the only games you're playing, Logic? Let me cut you off, man.
Well, that's 3. I think that's enough, Brad.
I don't know, man. There's never.
You're just playing one, right?
Yeah, I'm only playing one, man. So I figure you tend to play a lot of games. So I was just wondering if there might be more than just 3. So
no, you're right. I am an ADD kind of gamer, and I don't say that to make fun of anybody with ADD. I just mean like I'm not a person who tends to like feel fine like sitting with one game. I typically have to kind of go back and forth. But those are the 3 that I've been going at for the last few days.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Cool, man. All right, let's talk about Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. B Money's playing it. Eric Jackson's playing it. I'm playing it. Kofi, I know you're not playing it just yet. And Game Logic, I know you're not playing it right now. But I think did you pick it up? I don't remember. I know we talked about it, but I don't recall if you picked it up or not.
No.
Okay. So I just want to kind of give my thoughts quickly on what I played at Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think I'm as far as B Money. I don't think I'm 15, 20 hours in. I don't know, maybe if I had to guess, probably 6 or 8 hours into the game, and I'm loving it. B Money mentioned the ability to craft, the ability to craft different tools or mechanisms to traverse is really cool. To fuse different weapons with things like rocks or parts of enemies that drop like I would say body parts. Probably, I guess they're like body parts of certain enemy types you beat, and attaching those to your weapon. The puzzles I'm enjoying in the they're not dungeons. I forget what they're called now. The shrines, and I gotta say I don't know what wizardry Nintendo has going on, but this game. You remember, this is old hardware. I mean, the Switch came out 6 years ago, and it's mobile hardware. It's very old hardware, and this game runs really well. And just the sheer size and scope of this game, an open world game on this device, which is old, is really impressive. And despite like how open this world feels, and when I'm exploring it and walking around, and I see the mountains on the horizon, and I see, enemies on the horizon. Nothing. I haven't noticed anything that's an issue from a performance perspective. Again, considering how large this world is and the fact that it's on really old hardware, it's pure wizardry. They put a lot of care into the development of this game. And it is one of the best games I've played. This is my 2023 Elden Ring. It really is. It's a game, and just like Elden Ring, I couldn't put the controller down. I couldn't stop playing Elden Ring. I'm having that same experience with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's that good. I'm enjoying it that much. I love the exploration. I love the crafting. I love the traversal, using a puzzle, like solving puzzles to traverse or get to different parts of a map. It's like the one thing I was concerned about with this game prior to them showing Tears of the Kingdom was that they really weren't going to build upon or add anything different to Breath of the Wild, which I thought was a really good game, and they did, and it works well. And I tell you what, I hooked up my Nintendo Switch, where my Xbox Series X used to sit on my TV stand, now sits the Nintendo Switch. And I'm playing it on my television now. I have a C1 OLED, and the game looks really good on the OLED. It's just, I'm thoroughly enjoying this game. I'm surprised by how well this game runs on old hardware, and the amount of detail that they were able to put into this game in an open world game on old hardware. It's just a really good game. And someone who played the first Legend of Zelda back in the Nintendo Entertainment System, I think I was like 10 years old at the time. I talked earlier about games pulling at that nostalgia string for me, and this game does that, and it's just a really solid entry into the Zelda franchise. And my understanding too is that this is going to be the format. The artistic approach to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is going to be the standard moving forward with Zelda games. And so I'm looking forward to see what the next Zelda game looks like. But this is probably going to be my game of the year, unless Starfield just knocks it out of the park. But this is probably going to be my game of the year. It's for what I played a couple hours, I would give this game a 9.5 out of 10 right now. It's that good. It's just that good. It's just so much fun. And my kids are watching me play. They're enjoying it. They want to play it, but I'm like, nah, you can't play yet. I'm not gonna give you the controllers just yet. But I'm loving it. So I want to go to you, E, because I know you've been playing a lot.
Kids, right?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I said you didn't give them to fuck them kids, did you?
More or less. More or less, man. More or less. But what has your experience been with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom so far?
Excuse me, no, like I'm still fairly early on, but but as somebody who really enjoyed Breath of the Wild, I think I put like 150 hours in that game. Um, yeah, I had like those. I would say I had like the concerns about it's just going to be more of the same because I really enjoyed that game to begin with. So so for me, it's like kind of just like the return to form, but but the things that they have added, like you said, um, like the new system, like with crafting, putting things together, incorporating that into the puzzles, you know, using like the tutorials of the shrines, early to kind of get you familiar with like how those systems work. Is like been like really cool so far. I do think it's cool in a way that they kind of carry over, some of the things that you've done from the first game, as far as like, horses that you stabled and things like that. I thought that was pretty dope because that's not something at least I don't know. I didn't go looking for a lot of stuff. I didn't watch any of the treehouse stuff, so I don't know if they covered all that. So that was like kind of a cool surprise, when I finally went to a stable and saw like, that was going on. But yeah, it's just if you've been there before, you kind of know what you're getting into, which is to me has been a good thing so far. Um, that opening, cinematic, that opening was dope. I really like how it introduces itself. Like the continuation of events for Breath of the Wild. Kind of introducing who your protagonist is going to be again, who we already know who that's going to be, but kind of the mystery. They still have a way, even though you kind of know you've been here before, who you're going to be dealing with. Like they always kind of find a way to introduce it in a way that it still kind of gives you like that, that moment that, oh shit, it's about to be on type of moment. So like I said, so far so good, man. I do have to say, after like Bayonetta 3, and then and even playing this game, like yeah, you are right in terms where like first party Nintendo stuff is like they know their hardware the best, so they know what they can and can't get out of it. But I am very much looking forward to new Switch hardware because I do think we're past due. I do think it's time. I would almost say Anuma and the team will probably they would love to have had that extra, ability and power to put into this game, but they work with what they got. Um, so I'm looking forward to what it could look like when we do get that new hardware, and I'm guessing from the early ripples and the early rumbles that'll probably hit right around the time that they're ready to talk about DLC for this game. Like they
Yeah.
did for the last one. So, but yeah, so far so good though. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. B, I know you have about 15, 20 hours into this game. It sounds like you're enjoying it. What are your thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom compared to let's say Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I was kind of skeptical, like a lot of people, just wondering what the upgrades would be, kind of going into the next game. It's one of those things that we kind of see, this generation where we get sequels and they don't have, kind of that big of a jump or um, a thing that kind of makes it stand out from the previous game. And going in and getting through their first cinematic and actually getting out into the open world, it's it is a iteration of the first game, but they added so much stuff. I mean, the Sky Islands, um, there's so much stuff to do, so much discovery. Um, like I said, getting the fuse abilities, very early and learning how to craft and put vehicles together and aircrafts together and uh, defeating enemies with fuse trees and using the rewind feature. Like there's it's just a big playground, you know what I mean, and it
It's a
allows
great
the
point.
player
Yeah.
to figure out things on their own. There's no hand holding. There's no a bunch of scatter markers all over the map, that you have to find and you know, uh, these little side quests that are just all over the map. It's you find stuff, um, just by wandering the world. I found a bunch of different armor sets just by randomly talking to people, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, I need you to help me do this," or there's a treasure chest here you can go and find, or something over in this cave that if you bring this back, I'll give you a reward. So there's a lot of stuff like that where similar to Elden Ring, where there's no hand holding. You got to get out in the world and kind of figure things out yourself. And I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's to me, it's the best game I've played so far this year. Um, so I'm looking forward to continue playing it and eventually beating it. Definitely a game that you could probably put 100 hours in and still not find everything or even get to the finish, just because there's so many things that'll distract you.
Oh yeah.
You'll look over a ledge and it's like, oh, I want to get over there, and then you try to figure out how to get over there. What abilities you need to use, or what vehicles you can craft and things like that. So it's definitely deserves all the ratings that it's got as far as the Open Critic and Metacritic.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at Open Critic, Metacritic. What's it at right now? I think it was at was it like 95?
Yeah, 95 or 96, I believe. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days, but yeah, I mean it's right up there. I would give it a 9.5. The only thing that I would change is I want more voice acting in the game. Like why are we still playing?
It's a complaint of mine. Yeah,
Link this many years and he ain't talking. What the hell is going on?
They don't want Link to talk,
what I mean?
man.
Like, no, man, we need Link talking. We need more voice acting in the game. I mean, I think that would just help you kind of get immersed in the world. Because like the cinematics, they look amazing, and things of that nature. So
and that's where most
I
of
would just
the dialogue
those
happens.
little minor tweaks as far as things they can do to kind of make the game a little bit more immersive. Voice acting is definitely one of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, it can be kind of jarring, like when they give you like a cinematic and there's like the voice acting, and then the next scene, you're sitting there with Link's just doing that blank stare at somebody, and they go,
Yeah.
it's like it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Not with
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. You're right. The cutscenes, you'll hear the voice dialogue, and you're right. It'll switch over, and then it's like, oh. And it's like there was another game that did that. Was also what was the other game that I played that did that? If I recall correctly. Oh geez, what was it? Oh my god. Tales of Arise? I think
Yes.
Tales of Arise had the same thing.
Yep.
Where you would go to those cutscenes and then like you would talk to NPCs. It was like that kind of stuff.
And here's something to motivate you, BRAP. Star Ocean has fully voiced quests, and there are 60 of them. All the quests are voiced, so maybe that'll get you to go try it.
All right, I might have to go try it then. I'm gonna have to go try that then. Yeah, I might have to try that. Yeah, that's because it feels like I'm talking to Scooby Doo at times. But that's the only minor complaint that I have of that game. Outside of that, it's a fantastic game.
So, can I add a quick
Yeah.
what do you call that? Devil's advocate for that. So there are some RPGs where I don't mind a silent protagonist like Dragon Quest games. Do you guys feel like most of the games, like I don't know, a Witcher or other open world games, do have actors that act, or like Aloy, and that having them be silent helps you focus on just immersing in the gameplay, almost like a Souls game? Or does that not help because of the cutscenes and Ganondorf and Zelda interacting with them?
For me, like, I wish Aloy things. What I mean? Like, if there's a NPC talking to her, and there's a selection of phrases that you can input. I want her to be able to voice those responses, and act out that cinematic scene. But as far as like just roaming through the world and Aloy just talking to herself and things like that, that stuff I don't need. But as far as the cinematics, I definitely want the character to speak back.
Yeah, and like it's something like Horizon. Like I don't always mind like the inner, I guess like inner monologue. The only thing I kind of get annoyed with is the fact that like Aloy will walk into a room and go, looks like I should jump up there and hook onto that, and then I should. I'm like, dang girl, like this.
Oh, my
Can I
God.
try? Can I try first?
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't like that either. Like
that
she
would
was
be
like,
my main conceit with that.
yeah, I didn't like that either with Aloy. She was giving you like hits too quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I posted like on Twitter like a video of that. Like even Gorilla poked fun at the fact that Aloy kind of does kind of chatty, like she talks to herself a lot. So and I know that's a major gripe with people as far as her as part of her character or whatever. But I mean, they could tone it down some. I don't. It doesn't like really truly bother me like insanely, but yeah, it's just the puzzle solving, and that is something Sony I think needs to kind of balance in just in general. Like I know that it's about accessibility and making sure people are enjoying the proceedings. But if you're going to do that, and if you're going to have accessibility, then also have the ability for that to be turned completely off.
Yeah, I think the design trend I currently can't stand is or just dislike is lots of games since Tlu 2 have had. I mean, it's similar to what you guys are talking about, but I mean, it's also just like the incessant background chatter, like with multiple characters just kind of constantly chirping in the background. Tlu 2, I didn't care for Ellie and Dana just kind of like constantly yapping, like often sometimes like when combat was going on. And other games seem to have followed that trend. The one game that I'll lift off the gas pedal with that was Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought those characters talking all the time actually lent to the atmosphere of the game, right, and helped enhance the story. And a lot of that was because of some of the technology behind it and how they generated a lot of that dialogue. But yeah, a lot of games have characters these days that talk too much, and for me, specifically the stuff that's like the background noise that they feel is, I think the developers feel is rounding out the characters or doing kind of procedural character development that I just kind of don't really particularly care for.
yeah, no, that's a great point, Hamp. And Nate says that was a feature of Ragnarok. You'd actually turn that off. So that kind of speaks to what you were talking about, Eric.
You could turn it down, but you couldn't turn it completely off. Like I'm just thinking, like if you're gonna have something like that, because again, they're very much about like the accessibility part, and like if that's something, if it's possible. I mean, I'm not a developer, I have no idea, but some people don't want anything solved for them. Some people want a lot of things solved for them. Some people just want you. They literally probably don't have a problem with the character telling them, go there, do that. They just want to play through the game and be done. Some people don't want that at all. So it's like finding that balance,
Yeah, that's a great point, E. That's a great point, man. One thing I want to talk that I want to discuss with regards to Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And Eric, I heard you talk about this on Crossfire this past Friday. But my goodness, why are people, and this is the more fanatical side of the Xbox community, why are they comparing this game to Redfall? Like, someone actually called me a hypocrite because I'm enjoying Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and it's 30 FPS. And that was a hypocrite because I expressed my, just kind of, I made a comment about how I didn't think it was acceptable that Redfall was launching a first-person shooter on the world's most powerful console in a genre where 60 FPS is pretty much standard now. And a first-party game, like, how are people conflating this? Like, how are people? Well, I know why, it's console wars, but the fact that, like, if you can't, like, I just struggle with this idea that people can understand that when you have a console that's marketed as the 12 teraflop machine, eats monsters for breakfast, is vastly more powerful than Nintendo Switch. And they have a first-party game that releases within a genre that's where 60 FPS is the standard, where they have other FPS games on that platform that are first-party games, Halo being the example, that runs 60 FPS, and Halo will even run up to 120 FPS. Of course, I'm going to voice some disappointment, and I'm not saying you can't enjoy Redfall, but like Game Logic said, two states of beings can coexist. I could sit there and say that 30 FPS is a disappointment considering the power of the Xbox console, the Series X in particular, and the fact that it's a first-party game, and within the genre of FPS shooters, which Redfall is, that it was only able to get 30 FPS where 60 FPS is kind of a standard now for that particular genre. And now you have people saying, oh, well, look at all these frauds out here. They're okay playing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And it's like, well, you do understand that there's a different set of expectations with the Nintendo Switch hardware, which I don't think anyone thought an open world game on the Nintendo Switch, I know I didn't, was going to run at 60 FPS. I'd never had that expectation. And matter of fact, Nintendo's popular shooter, which is Splatoon, actually Splatoon 3 runs at 60 FPS and ran so at launch on old hardware. So I just this shit is just maddening. I don't understand how people don't understand the difference here. Like the obvious is like,
they do.
Do they? I'm sorry, because I'm starting to wonder if they really do.
No, they do. They do. But it's just, and again, if we're gonna like strictly kind of talk about this from a standpoint of like the small swimming pool of Twitterverse, which is really, really small, because I promise you, like, friends outside of that who I have who are not at all involved with gaming social media on the level that we are, have no idea what we're talking about when it comes to like how Tears of the Kingdom runs, or the 30 frame per second thing, or what the Switch. They just know they were going to pick the game up, play it, and that's all that was, right? So yeah, if you're going to take it from the sphere of just that, when dudes say, look at all these frauds, they're probably talking about two people that they had an argument with. But they build it up to like it's like this whole like attack. And I know some of them said like media outlets were saying this and saying that. So it's like, okay, well, which one is? Are you going to make up your mind? Because on one hand, you say that the media is irrelevant now, and it's all about the YouTubers, which we can get into that in a moment too. Because I'm like, so you say the media is irrelevant, but at the same time, you still give them power if they say something that you don't like. So which one is it? But at the same time, you don't talk about energy keeping. I'm throwing up air quotes. You don't keep energy with YouTubers who lie to you daily and don't take accountability, and then they hide behind the fact that they're not as big as IGN. But I'm like, no. If you have a channel and you're saying these things, and you're applying for press passes, and you have access, and you're getting items and freebies, and you're getting interviews and stuff, then you are as influential as a media outlet. Because if there's 200 people, if you only have 200 people who follow you, listen to you, that's 200 people who you have an impression upon. 200 people who take the time out to listen to your content and probably take you at your word. So again, Enrique, if we're talking about the small pool of that, then yeah, I can see why, they're out here saying, you know what, people not keeping the same energy, 30 frames per second wasn't okay for Redfall. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, most people are not looking at the Switch and expecting it to produce what was marketed as the world's most powerful console, which, if you really think about, Microsoft walked back on when the S came into the equation, right? So it's just, I don't know. It's funny to me. It's not really maddening. I know you said maddening. It's just funny to me because I'm like, all y'all are frauds. At the end of the day. So whatever it is, it is.
Yeah, like Silver Raven Moon says, Zelda's a good game, but some ignore the issues like the 20 to 30 FPS. I mean, look, I would love Zelda at 60 FPS. That's just not the reality or the expectation I have of the Nintendo Switch. And I don't know that the 20-30 FPS really causes an issue for that game from what I've played. Now, again, I would certainly love 60 FPS, but I'm not going to try to say that they're the same here, or I'm not going to sit there and say that I would have the same expectation of a Honda in terms of performance, a Honda Civic, and I'm not going to expect it to perform at the same level as a Ferrari. Just not going to. Yeah. So I mean, you know,
but we all know that this really isn't about FPS.
Mm-hmm.
This really is about that Redfall was just a bad game.
mm-hmm.
That's really what it's about. There was high hopes for the game.
Yep.
They told you one thing, they showed you one thing, and then when it was time to get the game out there, it wasn't what they showed you. It wasn't what they told you. And that's really what it's about. So then, a few weeks later, Zelda comes out. It gets all this praise, and people are like, "Yo, this game's a Switch game. How y'all holding this game up to such high praise? But y'all was shitting on Redfall. It's because Redfall is a bad game. That's why. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And people can have a great time with it. They can enjoy Redfall. At the end of the day, like, it's not up to the standard. We all saw what happened with Halo. It got delayed a year. So did Redfall. What happened with both games?
They stepped on the rate.
Exactly. We continue to see the same thing over and over and over again, but nobody wants to call them to the carpet. But it's okay to point out every other company and say that they have to be held to this standard, but you don't want to hold the company that's been doing the same thing over and over again to the same standard, and that's the problem.
Yep.
And the problem with that is for a day or two, when you know tempers are high and there's like all this and it sounds good, you know, everybody wants to keep in check. This is unacceptable. Can't have this. And then what happens? A couple of days later, y'all didn't understand what the man was saying. You don't understand this, and y'all out here because Redfall is actually a good game. And I don't know. It's like what the hell? What was going on? It's like all this angst that you have, you're directing it in the wrong place. Because I said to me, it's not even worth arguing with a lot of these cats because it's like like B just said, you have all these standards for the competitors, but you don't have the standard to go and take that angst that you have and put it towards who actually deserves it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, all those things we were seeing a couple of weeks ago was, you know, I feel like a second class citizen. We've been saying that since the middle of the Xbox One generation, but we were told, oh, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. There's so many games out here to play. Give them time. Watch out. You know, the power's coming. The 1X is going to be doing this and doing that.
Yep.
The deltas and all. We were like, no, okay. We're wrong. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out here to play, so we shouldn't say anything, right? So now it's like, well, we're being treated like second class. And, you know, we shouldn't have to be behind the PC and behind. Maya Angelou said, when someone tells you who they are the first time, believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And until that changes, until like and I'm sorry, I don't get this whole thing where people act like nobody can. Xbox dudes, you guys have say Xbox dudes, not Xbox fans. Let's make that abundantly clear. There's a big difference. There's Xbox fans who just keep rocking. They don't give a damn what anybody has to say. That's the platform they prefer. They rock with it. They know it's not perfect, but they're okay with it, right? The stands are the ones who act like no one else can understand what Phil Spencer says but them.
You speaking a different language.
Yeah, it's Phil speaking in tongue.
You guys are all dummies. You don't know what the man. I'm sitting there watching. I'm watching the man. I see what he's saying.
Yeah,
I don't even need him to say anything at this point. I know because I'm at the point where it's like show. So to me, Redfall is just another example of you're not showing me anything.
But the further frustrating thing is though, then when Phil says things that are very clear that everyone should understand, people still will then at that point, right, choose to not hear what Phil said.
Speak on that.
Phil said, we didn't deliver on the 12-month plan. 2 months before that, I posted the transcript from the June showcase where Sarah said 3 times on the stage, 12 months, 12 months, 12 months. Mm-hmm. And I got told, well, what you should be paying attention to is here, let me show you the JPEG with the small print. That's what's valid. Don't point to what she says. They didn't say 12 months. That was just a target. That was a desire and objective. And I'm like, Phil comes on the interview and says, we didn't deliver, which is the same thing that I said. Mm-hmm. Phil said, we can say last year, October 2022, Phil said, we can say COVID, but that's an excuse. Exactly the same thing that I had been saying for months beforehand. That you cannot be a $2 trillion plus company who, great Scott, literally owns GitHub and makes Microsoft Teams that are expressly for the purpose of software development teams collaborating, and then fall down on a claim that, well, COVID, when lots of other software development teams in the gaming industry figured out how to still deliver games in the same time period. People told me, well, I was being too harsh. I was being dismissive of the impact of COVID. But Phil said himself that's an excuse. But people choose not to listen to that. Phil said they're disappointed in Redfall. But people choose not to hear that. They choose to say, well, Redfall's really a good game, you guys just have it wrong. I'm like, so it's we understand and we hear Phil when he says the positives, but when Phil admits to their own mistakes and their own shortfalls, their own delinquencies, their own deficiencies, then we selectively choose not to hear what he says. And that's a hypocrisy that I don't understand.
I mean, Phil came out years ago and said, I don't care for the tribalism around gaming. That didn't stop anybody. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, people cherry pick the words. They only hear the parts that they want to hear, and then everybody else is like the idiot, right? So no. And I said it when we started the show. I know what Arcane is capable of, and Redfall ain't it. That's why I'm not touching it. And 60 frames per second is not going to fix anything that's going on with that game. No matter how much you want to sit and push the agenda and say, hey, I don't know what people are talking about, I'm enjoying it. That's fine. You're enjoying it and enjoying it. It doesn't change the fact that for a lot of other people, it's a bad game. And they have no problem trying you with it. Because like B just said, what happened when they first debuted Halo Infinite? A good portion of us stepped back and said, that ain't it, Chief.
That's right.
And what did you have? The influencers? Well, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm looking at this. Looks like a return to form to Halo. This looks fantastic. This looks great. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You can't be a real fan looking at this and thinking that doesn't look right. And we're like, no, it doesn't look right. And I guess I'm not a real fan because I'm looking at that. That game looks broken. That game doesn't look. But they were willing to put it out. Why? Because, again, I'm throwing up air quotes. Xbox dudes acquiesce to everything that they do and make it okay. So they're willing to try you with that. And so willing to push that out. And then what happens? When Microsoft decides to delay it, the same influencer, oh yeah, that's the right move. That's what you gotta do. This is what you gotta do. You gotta delay it. We were saying that months ago. You know?
Yeah.
So no, I don't feel bad. And I sit back and laugh at it when, people are trying to push the agenda because it's like, you had all the Xbox influencers and everybody else saying on YouTube, no, this is not right, and I can't believe this interview, and I can't believe this, and I can't believe that, I can't believe Redfall. And then a couple of days later, it was everybody else was wrong again, and Microsoft was right. So again, they understand, Enrique. They understand exactly what it is when you say it, or when people tell them and they get pissed and they try to push it back at you. They understand exactly where you're coming from. Because, and I'm going to say it again, and I've said it before, Microsoft has a culture problem when it comes to their games and deliverables and all these things. And you don't see that. And you can say what you want to say about Nintendo and so on. You can say Nintendo, they don't have the power and lying, crying Jim and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, they understand the culture of what their fan bases want and how to deliver it to them and get them excited about their stuff. Look at what Zelda did in a week. Look at the midnight launches. That's culture.
Yeah, those midnight launches were wild.
Culture is unannounced dropping a Leviathan axe in Denmark for people to go take pictures with it. And it trends, and people get excited about that, and people talk about it, and it's like they can't get enough of that. That's culture. There's a culture to gaming that's just like hip hop, like basketball, like shoes, like everything else. And there are those who get it and understand it, and there are those who try to buy it and put it in place and push it off as if they understand it. And until they get that around their heads and understand and stop trying to, be daddy warbucks and buy your affection, they're gonna keep stepping on the rake. And they're gonna keep stepping on the rake as long as dudes keep making that okay for them and trying to make everybody else keep the energy. Making people who are enjoying Zelda or enjoying whatever other game keep the energy around Redfall does not change the situation at Microsoft right now.
Yeah, I want to address True Virtual Live Chat. Says Phil didn't say they failed. Not delivering means he wanted to exceed expectations. Look, I think Phil was pretty clear with that they dropped the ball. I mean, he for crying out loud, he even said we should have engaged the development team sooner than we did, and we need to.
I'm sorry, Rick, and I don't mean to cut you off. Yeah, engage the development team sooner than we did. But what was the news report that we saw that they went in and said stop making that for the PlayStation?
Yeah.
So you had time to do that, but you didn't have time to check anything else.
Yeah, and the other thing too. The other thing too is he's saying that they have to reevaluate their internal process. That's not.
They've been reevaluating the internal process since 2013.
Yeah, I was about to say that me, you, and B have been on the show for 8 years, and I think we probably bring a different and we've been on gaming Twitter for just as long, actually maybe longer, because my days of gaming Twitter go back 10 years. And I go back to when Phil and B Money, you interviewed Phil a long time ago when you're part of the Inner Circle podcast. The dialogue, the behavior has been pretty consistent from them over the last, I think, 10 years or so, where me, you, and B and others here on this panel too as well are kind of like, yeah, we've heard this song and dance before. And I think some folks don't have that historical perspective.
What were the excuses then? B, Enrique, I'm asking you, since we've been doing the BRAP thing for a long. What were the excuses back then? Well, these aren't Phil's games. These are Don's games.
Yep, it was Don's.
Right.
This is Phil's correcting Don's mistakes.
Then when that expiration date hit, then it became, well, coming up next E3 is going to be Phil. These are all Phil's. Next E3 is going to be Phil. Then that meme started, and then it was like.
His first remember it was and Phil inherited Don Matrix's best. He's got to clean that up first. Oh, this is going to be Phil's first E3. It's going to be great. I mean, like we keep hearing this stuff over and over again. That's why when we're critical of them, it's because of this stuff. Because we've been around for the last 10 years, and we've seen what's happened, and we keep hearing the same thing. We keep seeing the same stepping on the rake, if you will, behavior, and it's getting old now.
And really quick, I wanted to add on
that
culture. I think it was Logic who mentioned about the culture being so poor. All of the contractors who were brought on 343 and got let go in their big shakeup didn't teach lessons learned to this team. For their best IP, they couldn't learn anything. So I think it really shows what direction they're going to go until they prove otherwise. And I mean, Phil already said it well, other than saying that he gets paid too much. He already said, hey, you shouldn't be satisfied until you pick up a controller, play Starfield, and are impressed with it. So,
and like Logic said,
you
those
gotta
have the one they ignore.
Right. You gotta I hate to say it, you can't just break up a team when they're failing, when so many of your IPs are struggling. You got to keep somebody around to teach a lesson. Oh, this is what we shouldn't do. Oh, we can't do it this way. But, they don't want to do that.
Yeah,
and I do just want to give fair credit. It was EJ who has the thesis on gaming culture.
That was E. Yes, that was E. I do want to welcome.
Like Logic said, though, they cherry pick the positives that run the narrative, and then the things that he says that they don't like, they ignore.
Yeah, I do see that quite a bit. I do want to welcome.
Sidestep it when you bring it up.
Yeah,
that's true too.
I do want to welcome the great gaming Forte. What's up, Forte?
What is up, man? How are you guys doing, man?
Forte, I need to ask you a question. I meant to call you the other day because I haven't talked to you forever. I was going to call you and say, sir, how was that midnight launch of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom?
Oh man, magical,
Magical,
amazing.
Really? Okay,
Felt
talk
like
about
a gamer
it.
again.
Talk
man.
about it. Talk about it.
Felt like a gamer again. So we did DPS on Thursday. So I was telling Slow Mo, I was like, Slow Mo, we got a hard stop. Set 11:15. He's like, got to get back for the midnight because he's
that's right. That was Thursday. Okay,
it was Thursday night, so we definitely had a hard stop at 11:15. You know how we like to go. We like to go long on that show sometimes. So I was like, yeah, we got a hard stop for that. So I got up to the store at about 11:20 because I live like 5 minutes from my store. And when I pulled into the parking lot, I was like blown away, like how many people were lined up outside my door. I was like, this is insane. It was close. It was over 100. We ended up selling on the midnight, like I believe it was like somewhere around 120, 130 copies of it at midnight. But it was like I haven't seen that many people outside the store waiting for a game since 2019, maybe 2018.
Ask you the last time. Yeah, do you remember what game that was for?
I believe it was a Nintendo game. It was Smash Brothers.
Wow.
Smash Brothers was the last time we had a line like that outside.
Wow.
So I think that was 2019.
So how many physical copies did you sell again? You sold 130?
At the midnight? Yeah, it was over that.
And how many was that? Did you go through your entire shipment at the midnight release, or did you set some aside?
No, we were stacked on that game, bro. We well over. Put it this way, we doubled that number over the course of the next day.
Wow,
it was close to over three. It was over 300 copies of that game, so it was ridiculous. And every store pretty much had a lot of them. Like I didn't even have the most, and I know all the stores around me sold out of it pretty much. We never really sold out, but we got to the point where we couldn't do another day like we did on Thursday or like Friday or Saturday and still have copies. It was pretty crazy how much people turned out for it. And I mean, it's just people that I hadn't seen in a while. And the cool thing was we had people standing in line. They were playing Breath of the Wild while they were in line, showing off their bills, showing off what outfits they were wearing, just getting immersed into the lore of it again, running around Hyrule. See, they wanted to compare what things they saw in Breath of the Wild that's going to be in the game when they got it. So it was really cool seeing that. And then the really fun thing was just once we started lining people up to hand them the game at midnight, we had a guy at the door. He was just a cool guy. Came up there. He was number one in line, but he had brought a little speaker up to the store with him. And every time somebody was walking out and got their game, he played the chest opening music for everybody that walked out the door. I was like, "Yo, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I was like." I always tell people, I was like, when it comes to fans, and in my opinion, when it comes to gamers, Nintendo gamers are the ones that care. I feel like care ultimately the most about just the games. There's a lot of gamers that are on Xbox and PlayStation that just cares about the games, but I feel like as a platform, as a community, yes, Nintendo definitely has some fans that are kind of crazy, just like Xbox and PlayStation. But it just seems like they just care about playing games. Like they just care about lining up, talking about the game, learning about what the game's all about, and it's so genuine that it just makes you excited to play whatever game they're talking about. Like I had people that came up and was just buying Zelda just because their friends or their cousins said, yeah, that Zelda game's cool. They said, well, do I need to play the first one? They said, well, if you don't play it, that's okay, because they do give you a nice little tutorial thing that you can kind of give yourself a refresher on. But in general, you don't have to have played it, but it's good if you did. So I had people coming in. You could definitely tell the people that didn't play the first one because they would buy both. Like I had people buying both copies of the game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, Breath of the Wild charting in the top 10 or the top 15 or top 20 for the month of May, because a lot of people did buy it because they didn't play the first one. And guess what? That game's a $60 game too. So, but it was cool. It was really refreshing to just be in an atmosphere like that again. Like I said, it's been since 2019 when we had like that type of feeling around games. And I'm talking about non-console launches because, of course, we had console launches since then, and those were pretty big. But just for a singular game, that was pretty amazing seeing that again.
So, Forte, that's awesome, man. And that's why I meant to call you, and I was like, because I'd gone to Walmart on Friday, my local Walmart, and I was like, I got to call Forte to see how, because I had an interesting experience at Walmart with Zelda. I went to the counter, I said, hey, I need help with getting a game from the case, because they lock everything up behind a case, and I say that, and she goes, Zelda. I'm like, how did you know? And actually, it was
that's what we were doing.
Yeah, she's like, oh, today's Zelda Day. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And she's like, it's been like this all day. She's like, we had 75 copies of Zelda when we opened this morning. She's like, we've sold through 40, over half. We probably have 30 copies left. She's like, people have been coming in buying 2 or 3 copies each for like people, like for their friends or family. She's like, it's been crazy all day. And I went by there yesterday, and they're all sold out of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. All sold out. They don't have any more physical copies of the game left in stock.
Yeah, that makes sense. And shout out to Crisis Core. He said that on the eShop, Breath of the Wild is number 3 in games sold right now. So that just kind of leaves credence to the fact that there's a lot of people. It almost has that Elden Ring effect where people hear about it so much. And I mean, granted, there's almost 130 million Switches out there. So it's a lot more room for games like Breath of the Wild to even, grow from where they are now just based off of this game. But that just shows you what the power of a good game is. Like people, and then you hear the conversations. Yeah, a great game. But you also hear the conversations about, people talking about, well, 30 frames per second is, and, keeping that same energy. And I'm like, listen, man, people cap for things that they love. And if you love it enough, you're willing to overlook a lot of sins in order to play the things that you love. And Zelda is one of those such things for me. And it's one of those such things for a lot of people. We were talking about it, how Zelda hasn't had a game that has hit under 90. It's like when they released now, the last 2 games have been critically acclaimed when it comes to their sales numbers. Zelda never sold like it sells now. It was more of that niche type of game that just the hardcore gamer played and cared about. But now it's like in this whole other stratosphere where Nintendo can even come out and say, yeah, we're going to charge you $10 more, mostly due to the fact that this thing is going to be on a bigger cartridge. But really, we're doing it because we could just sell it to you for $10 more, and we know we can do it because you guys are going to buy it.
Yeah,
the market
will support it.
And guess what? I thought it was going to be a huge issue because when they first started taking pre-orders on it, it was listed at $59.99. But then when they did the first direct for it, that's when they announced the price for $69. And a lot of people had already had the game paid off. And I didn't have one person that walked into that store that had their game paid off. And I said they just owed $10 and they just said, oh, okay. And then they just paid the $10. Not one person cared because it's all about the quality. And if the quality is there and that perceived value is there, because value is in the eye of the beholder, it doesn't matter. So 30 frames per second, blurry textures. Let's be for real. It's not the best looking game in the world. It looks pretty much just like Breath of the Wild, but there's something about just picking that game up, running around Hyrule, going through the underworld, using the ascend ability to bypass, stuff that you don't have enough stamina to climb, being able to fuse every and anything to each other in that game. I got like 13, 14 hours in, and I haven't even done the dungeon yet. Because I'm just running around doing random stuff. It's crazy. Got 13 hearts right now. Stupid. Haven't even done a dungeon yet. But it's fun, man. It's one of those genre defining games, and I feel like they did everything that they needed to do in that game to fix 98% of the things that people probably had a big problem with in Breath of the Wild. And if you want to say the last 2% is graphics, well, they can't fix that until they give us a new system, which this game will definitely shows that it is time for a new Switch or a predecessor to be released, because I think this is kind of the apex of what we're going to get out of it. And I just hope Nintendo within the next year does something about that. But outside of that, man, this game is incredible, and it definitely deserves the praise it's getting.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let me grab these super chats real quick. Tactical Gamer with the $10 super chat says, I have also noticed the same people using the pixel opus closing and deviation layoffs to turn the attention away from Phil's interview in Redfall. Very sad to use people's misfortunes for a console war. Thank you for that super chat, Tactical Gamer. And then we have Twisted Sin with the $10 super chat. He says, it infuriates me how these zealots are capping for Redfall. I've been with Arcane since Arc Fatalis, and Redfall has none of the quality or traits that Arcane usually has with their games. Thank you for the super chats there, Twisted Sin and Tactical Gamer. So I do want to move on to the PlayStation Showcase. As we said earlier in the show, B was pretty much spot on with the timing of the showcase. And it is next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is going to be...
We got to give B his flowers again, man.
Yeah, well, yeah.
This man been saying that. This man's been talking... Look, man, I know y'all, because I was listening to y'all while I was at work earlier, and y'all mentioned it at the beginning of the show. But, man, B, man, Prophet B, Messiah B, within 2 weeks, B? Man, come on, man. Let's go. Let's move on with the show, man. Congratulations, B. You did it again.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
So it's going to be over an hour. It's going to be focusing on PlayStation 5, PSVR 2 games. Expect several new creations from PlayStation Studios, and there's going to be some games from third-party partners and indies. So this, again, is taking place May 21st at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I am looking forward to this showcase. It's the big. This is, we haven't had a showcase like this in what, 2 years from them. And they had that one big showcase where they revealed Knights of the Old Republic, but that was the last one. That was 2 years ago, and now we have this one. So there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz around this showcase. I'm really looking forward to it. I did see some tweets out there, and I didn't see any specific links to any article that was written on this, but I saw some tweets saying that Jim Ryan, there was an internal memo where Jim Ryan was saying, let's make noise with our games or something in light of the ABK deal being approved, the EU or something. In fact, I don't know if that's true. But one thing, and I do remember this, B-Money, I remember at the start of this generation, and we talked about Jim Ryan taking over the reins of PlayStation. You said he was the dude.
What'd I say?
You said he was the guy, and you said that he is going to focus on bringing more exclusive games and make it about the games. I remember you saying that. And this seems, what we're hearing from the showcase seems like that is going to be the case. I think we got a little bit of taste of it with the last showcase. I think KOTOR, being a remake, an older game that was, when it released for the original Xbox as an exclusive for that console, was a critically acclaimed game, was one of the highlights of the original Xbox console. And we're going to see other games. There's the Metal Gear, there's the Silent Hill remakes. Those are things that are rumored. There's always that Bloodborne rumor, either a remake or a sequel. But there's going to be other games like that for the PlayStation 5 on top of their first party exclusives. So B, I gotta go to you first on this, because you have, as Forte mentioned, been pretty spot on with a lot of things PlayStation related. Yeah, BB knowing, or as Eric said, Beast. What did you call him? Beastradamus?
Beastradamus.
Yeah. So So, B, what do you think we're going to see here at the showcase? Is it going to be this big rollout of just big announcements at where people are like, "Holy shit, this is what we've been waiting for"?
Yes, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the showcase that was supposed to take place last year. Uh, but I'm hearing that it's actually been retooled and some things that uh, weren't ready for last year's showcase will actually be at this showcase. So this is the one that people have been waiting for. I was told to be really excited and be ready to be surprised. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of stuff. Like I said at the beginning of Jim Ryan's tenure, he went in there and kind of re I don't want to say reorganized, but he definitely refocused the teams to and was really all about expanding the team so that they could get out more quality content in a shorter time span. So you'll notice that a lot of teams that were kind of known to kind of work on one project at a time, they have two or three projects going right now. So um, I don't know if people saw it, but Herman Hulst just left San Diego studio, which is a studio that's most known for MLB The Show, but they're actually working on another game as well. So there's a chance that we might see that game there. He just left Santa Monica, and we know Corey's over there cooking up something beyond God of War. So
He said he felt inspired by what he saw.
yeah. I mean,
now, isn't Barlock working on a sci-fi game too?
What's that?
Isn't Corey Barlock working on an exclusive sci-fi game?
He is working on something sci-fi.
Okay.
So I don't know if we'll actually see that next week or not, but he is definitely heading up his own project over there. And from what I hear, it's going to be something that people don't expect. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. But yeah, I mean, just about every team is working on two or three projects. And Insomniac is the workhorse. They have a multiplayer project that's that they're working on right now beyond the Spider-Man and the Wolverine game. They have some VR stuff they're working on. So they're the ones that will probably see their name more often than not, just because they have these smaller pocket teams that can kind of put stuff together in a timely fashion and kind of help support all the different platforms that PlayStation has. So a lot of stuff. I mean, we have some third party stuff coming from some smaller teams and even some bigger ones as what I've heard. So it should be exciting. I'm ready for it. I mean, it's something that I've been talking about for a while, and this actually seems that it's going to be bigger than kind of what I heard about before. So I'm super excited. It's time for PlayStation to speak and kind of get things out of there. This is the second phase of the PS5, and basically, what I've said before, they're trying to shorten the window from announcement to release. So this is just part one, and we should be seeing more things down the line to kind of help roll out phase two of PlayStation 5.
So B, are they any specific games that you anticipate seeing there at the showcase?
I don't want to say I anticipate them being there, but I would assume that Haven's that they would try to have Haven there. I want to see all the new studios that they bought. I want to see Firewalk. We know Fire Sprite was given the Twisted Metal game. The Twisted Metal show is coming out pretty soon, so I would assume that would be there. Like I said, Haven, Fire Sprite, Firewalk. All the newer teams that they picked up. I mean, we kind of know what the first party teams are doing that have kind of been there and been established. So we kind of know what to expect from them. But I want to see all the new stuff. I want to see exactly, how Bungie's been implemented into, some of the other first party studios to work on the games as a service, and it's like assume the keys for factions or whatever they're gonna call the Last of Us multiplayer game, and then they'll probably show off a little bit more at Jeff's show in regards to that. But I think we'll have kind of one major surprise that will be similar to what we saw last year with the Wolverine, or 2 years ago with the Wolverine announcement. Something along those scales. And I would assume we have to see what Blue Point is doing at this point, right? They're working on 2 projects, so I'm sure one of them is ready to be announced rather soon as well.
B, do you think? So? I think Ben's studio is going to be there, right? Like, do we get some? Do you think we might get an announcement from Ben's studio? I thought I saw something on Twitter that coincide with their 30th anniversary, and then maybe them having some kind of now, because they are working on something. We know that.
Yeah, they're working on something. I would assume they'd probably be there too, just because there's a 30th anniversary. The final one of the, I think they have one more Siphon Filter game to be released into the PlayStation Premium. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were there as well. I would like to see them, kind of have like maybe a remaster or a remake of the original Siphon Filter or something like that. Something to kind of commemorate the 30th year anniversary. But I know they're working on something different from that. So, maybe that's announced there as well.
So this sounds like this is going to be a big one then.
This is going to be a pretty big show. People should be excited. No tempered expectations.
Really?
No tempered expectations.
I was talking to somebody who said who used to work at Sony PlayStation. I said I think I'm going to go in with this tempered expectations. He said to me, "Don't." And I said, "Oh, okay."
Not after all the time we waited. I'm not tempering nothing.
That's actually a good point, Forte.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kofi,
I need all the sauce.
Yeah, Kofi. What about you, man? What are your expectations, man? And what are you hoping to see? I should say too. Did we lose Kofi?
I think he's muted.
I don't know. I don't think he's muted. All right, let's go to EJ. EJ, what are you hoping to see at the showcase?
I don't honestly at this point. I'm kind of on the same page of some of the things that B was kind of like lining out, but I imagine I don't know what kind of flashed in my head pretty quick was when we saw that live from PlayStation commercial. We saw like the speculation around that was that quick flash, like the new Uncharted. So I'm kind of wondering if that is the case, if that is indeed like they're ready to return to that. It kind of would line up time wise. It's been quite some time since the last Uncharted game, so that could end up being there. I'm hoping to see something from Resistance, because they've been teasing that game like on Twitter for like years now, or just teasing the franchise in general. So I've been hoping that something comes back from that franchise. I mean, I definitely think now would be a primo time for something like that. But just in general, man, like out of the stable of stuff, it could be anything, but I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing like some new IP, some new ideas that they have, some new things coming up. I know we'll probably see, of course, the VR stuff that they mentioned, the games and service stuff that they mentioned, but me, I want to see some new ideas in the single player realm from them.
Yeah, Kofi, are you back?
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, Kofi, are you? I don't know if Kofi's back yet. Do we lose Kofi? I think we lost him. All right, we'll get back to Kofi. Forte, what are you looking forward to, man?
Greatness.
Greatness, everyone.
That's all I'm looking forward to. Not really looking anything in particular. Who knows what the heck they're going to show? I know they're going to show quite a few of the live service things. Really want to see what they're doing with that, because I am really interested to see what they're doing with Bungie, or what Bungie is helping them with when in regards to that. Outside of that, more information about what we're going to be playing later this year outside of Spider-Man, because I do know we're going to probably end up seeing, we're definitely going to see that, especially since Insomniac said it's coming this year. But I will say Faction, because Faction is like the biggest, worst kept secret ever. I just want to know, when are we going to be playing something like that? And hopefully just news around some other unannounced things that they haven't been talking about. And one of the big ones for me is Final Fantasy VII Part 2. Is it coming this year, or is it going to be early next year? And I do think it's going to be early next year, but definitely want to hear some more stuff about that. So the thing is it's really refreshing, because we know they have so much to show, because they've been holding back for so long. I mean, it's been almost a proper year and a half to 2 years since their last showcase. So it's, the sky's the limit, and we can see anything from, Spider-Man all the way to Wolverine. We can see everything all the way going up to just announcements of new partnerships. Well, not new partnerships, but new things that they have from third party that they have exclusive content for, or exclusive games for, to like any of these live service games. So honestly, when you go into this, just enjoy the show. Honestly, I think they're gonna. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard for them not to knock it out the park, because there is so much that people don't know what they're going to be doing. So I'm just going to take it all in on the 24th and just enjoy it, honestly.
Yeah, I hear that, Forte. Just kind of kick your feet up, eat some popcorn, enjoy the stream.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep, and then see the tears after it and see what happens. One side's going to probably be super happy. The other side's going to probably be like, that show's trash. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
They're forcing developers to keep games off the other platform. Look, I'm with you though, Forte. I'm looking. I'm just gonna sit back, kick up my feet, enjoy the show. I think this is going to be a good show, and I just want to see. I'm just excited to see the games they have in development, and updates.
You know what? I think we're going to see. Yeah. The funny thing is, I think we're going to see the Mortal Kombat trailers tomorrow. And if I remember correct, if I'm in and out about correctly about it, I think they have a partnership with WB for Mortal Kombat, so they'll have all the fighting games under some type of what's the name, through Sony when it comes to exclusive content. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see the trailer and see sub stuff from Mortal Kombat, but then they're going to put a screenshot tell you see gameplay at the PlayStation event.
Interesting.
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure PlayStation has.
I think they have the marketing rights to it, to every fighting game.
Well, all WB games.
To all WB games, yeah. So I'm thinking we're going to see. Yeah, so I'm thinking we're going to get the trailer tomorrow at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. and then we're going to get the actual gameplay at the PlayStation event on the 24th. It's going to be pretty wild. And my daughter can't wait. It's going to probably piss her off that they're not going to have the gameplay tomorrow, though.
Yeah, I think if they don't show factions too,
how they announced MK11.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think they're going to do. And then they're going to do the real blowout at the PlayStation event. Going to really show it off then.
Yeah, I do think if they don't show
that would be my surprise thing. I think they're going to do.
Yeah, I do think if they don't show factions too, I think a lot of people are going to be upset about that because that's been on
absolutely
like the most wanted list for a lot of PlayStation fans. Kofi, are you back? Are you there? I think I guess. Let me see if Kofi.
It's late where Kofi's at, man. He probably sleep.
No, Kofi's by me.
Oh, that's right. He's over. Yeah, he's here in.
I think it's something on Discord. Maya broke when you went to Kofi last time. For whatever reason, my virtual channel on my Elgato Wavelength just dropped all video, all audio. Sorry, and I just got it back through futzing around with it. So he may have gotten broke too.
Oh man, freaking Discord. All right. So I'll go to you.
Disco.
Yeah, right. I'll go to you, Logic. Are they certain games you want to see or updates, Logic, with this showcase?
No, I mean we talked about it last week or a couple weeks ago. What our predictions, our hopes were. So I'm not going to go back over it. I guess one question I had was so PlayStation has been known to be cheeky in the past. They dropped, when they dropped the price for the PlayStation 4, was it 4? Or maybe 4 or the 2? I can't remember which E3 it was that they like scooped Xbox because Xbox went first and then they dropped their price later. And then they did the whole like game sharing thing too, right? So one of the things I wonder, what's that?
That was PS4, I believe.
Yeah. So one of the things I've been wondering about is do we think we're going to hear like every other game trailer, we're going to hear something like 60 frames per second or some other type of dig at Xbox?
That wouldn't surprise me.
No, I don't think they'll do that.
You don't think so, B?
No, I don't think they'll do that. Just by the way that they kind of structure their shows, I'm sure we'll see Jim Ryan at the front, talking about how great the PlayStation 5 is sold, and go right to the games, and we'll see a collection of games from their second party partners and the indie stuff and third party partners, and then Herman will come up and he'll say, this is what PlayStation Studios has been working on, and then we'll see all the games from PlayStation Studios, and then they'll close out with some big game, and then that'll be it. They're not going to do a bunch of talking. It's going to be boom, games, boom, games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't mean that there'd be a bunch, but so we're guessing no cheeky swipes about performance or about the EU stuff, just game trailers.
Yes.
So, B, are you saying one big game, like one big AAA game, or do you think maybe we see multiple AAA games?
What are you talking about?
Like you said, you said at the end, like one big game. I interpreted that as like a AAA game.
Yeah, I mean they're going to close the show with something that we don't know about.
Okay, so you're saying a game that like would even cross our mind per se, like that's going to be
right.
like KOTOR, like no one even thought like that Knights of the Old Republic would have been a remake or that Sony would be involved in that, much less be an exclusive. I think like what surprised me about the Knights of the Old Republic remake was that it was a game that was exclusive to the Xbox console 20-something years ago. If anyone was going to do a remake of that game, to me, it would have been Microsoft and not Sony. So something like that, then. Something that no one expects PlayStation to be working on.
Yeah. Because I was trying to think, like, if they would open the show with Spider-Man just because we know about it already, but I don't think they will. That'll probably be the first PlayStation Studios game that they show, Spider-Man. And maybe they announce that the first game that we show is something that we didn't expect coming, as far as a partnership is concerned, or something from Konami or whatever. And then the first PlayStation Studios game that we see is Spider-Man, and they'll close it out with something that we didn't expect.
Yeah. So Mike asked in the live chats at BRAP, what are all your predictions for a shadow drop, stealth drop in the show? Little Devil Inside or Wayfinder past something else?
Final Fantasy 16 demo.
Oh, so you think that's the like, hey, Final Fantasy 6 demo is available today or tomorrow,
yes.
Whatever the case is. Okay. Oh, predictions. Okay. Will be if that is announced, then you will be getting your flowers again, sir. And we'll talk about it on Wednesday, next Wednesday.
Do we know of anything in development from PlayStation that's multiplayer for PSVR 2?
Isn't Firesprite working on something multiplayer?
There he is.
Kofi's back.
Sorry, I was gone for it. I'm sorry, guys.
And is that a VR game?
Yeah,
Good question.
Firesprite is working on a VR game. I don't know if it's the multiplayer game though.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
All right. Kofi, so what are you hoping to see at the showcase next week?
Yeah. Um, I, there are several big titles that I'm really excited for. One that I don't think we'll see, and I'm okay with not seeing, but would be very excited, is Rise of the Ronin. I'm a huge fan of Team Ninja. I love Ninja Gaiden. I love that they've kind of mobilized and gone this Neo route. I finished Wo Long in March. It's not the best game in their catalog, but I really, really enjoyed it. So I think Rise of the Ronin is going to be a good change for them because it seems to be more open world, not as instanced as Neo 2. But at the same time, that's a 2024 release. We can almost get a state of play for that ahead of release, like Tsushima did, 3 years ago now. I'm really looking for some smaller titles to finally show their faces. The China Hero Project has done fairly well with me personally and critically reviewed. The last China Hero Project game I played was Fist. Got the platinum. I love that game so much. It's an underrated Metroidvania. Got overshadowed by Dread because it released the same year. But then we still have games like Con Valeria, which kind of looks like, man, it almost looks like a over-the-shoulder version of, what is this game? There was a trilogy. It started on 360. It was made by Capcom. Lost Planet. It's almost like Lost Planet. Like, it's a little bit disrespectful for me to say that, but it kind of reminds me of that with the bright visuals, and lots going on screen, multiplayer. And then, of course, Lost Soul Aside. We've seen this game like, what, 5 years ago now? And we still don't even have a release window or even year. And I'd love for those games to kind of show their faces. And of course, there's tons of big titles, but I think we all kind of agree that we want to see a Spider-Man 2. We want to see what Bend might even say. If Blue Point says something, that would be really exciting. Even if Media Molecule gives us kind of like a direction they're going in after, they have some changes there. I think that's all obvious. But like other small things, Little Devil Inside. I think that game looks really, really cool. We know that game, was showed in 2021, and it looked pretty cool. But I'd love to see an update on that. Another game by a developer, I think it's a very small team inspired by Persona 5, Atlas Gods, is working on Eternites, which is kind of like an action-based RPG, and there seems to be like a dating sim kind of involved. I'd love to see what's going on with that because it seems to be a game that's launching with PlayStation promotion. It's another game, Sin Duality, which is, it looks like I think they announced it as a PvPvE game where characters kind of control mechs in a survival type world. We've seen trailers for that. I think at a State of Play and at the original showcase back in 2020. So like all these games, just sitting on the back burner. That would be really cool. I think the one thing that would really surprise me is if we see anything from Housemarque. If we get like whatever their next IP is, I don't think it's going to be a Returnal 2 or anything like that. I think they're going to try to take it to the next level because we know that they were hiring, since their release. So I think that's the biggest highlights to me. Oh, like other big things like SOCOM. SOCOM is like my throwback, but I just don't think we're going to see that. Factions would be cool, but I think that's more in the line of we know that's in the pipeline. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I'd love to see a SOCOM. I don't think that's going to happen, and we know that they are working on. I'm aware of 2 shooters that they've greenlit that they're working on, but I don't know if SOCOM. I don't think SOCOM's one of them. I understand these are newer IPs, but look, there's always that this has been going on for years now. There's that Bloodborne, remake or Bloodborne, a sequel to Bloodborne. I would love to see a Bloodborne. Look, a sequel I don't think is going to happen, but a remake, possibly. Yeah, this is just a rumor. Rumor that the rumor around that particular Bloodborne remake is that it's being worked on by Blue Point.
Nope.
Nope, it's not. Okay. So it's not Blue Point.
Nope.
All right. Do you know who it is, B?
Nope.
All right. So all right. So
It's not Blue Point though.
All right. So that was a rumor, but I would love to see a Bloodborne remake. I mean, that is a game that I would go out and buy again and play it again and get the platinum for it again. It's probably it might be my favorite game last generation. I mean, it's we talk about Souls games. It's one of my probably rank it number. Well, there's Elden Ring. I go back and forth between Elden Ring and Bloodborne, but maybe I get Bloodborne the edge for me as being my favorite of the From Software Souls types games. So, but that's the big one that I like to see. But other than that, I agree with what Forte said earlier. I'm just looking forward to the show and seeing an update on games they've announced and seeing new games that they haven't announced. Because look, I mean, it's been 2 years. I agree with everyone here on the panel. This is going to be a big show. It's going to be a big show. So as a gamer, I'm going to sit back, enjoy it, and looking forward to the announcement. And then we'll talk about it next Wednesday night because we'll be live day of because the show's next Wednesday. So we'll talk about the announcements next Wednesday night on BRAP, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So anyone else have any other thoughts on the showcase next week?
Oh, just buckle up. It's gonna be a good one, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be hype.
Remember, you heard it here from B Money. Buckle up. It's going to be a good one. And remember what he said about the Final Fantasy 16 demo. Just remember that. You were to say something, E?
Yeah, that show's good.
Or Forte?
The show's going to be like opening the chest in Zelda.
With that noise. And you're going to give me a copyright strike, man. Turn it off. You're going to give me a copyright strike, man. Nintendo is notorious.
That's how it's going to feel next week.
Enrique going to prison.
Yeah, Forte just got me a copyright strike. Nintendo is notorious. Real quick, I want to
gotta find me some Jim Ryan quotes.
Exactly.
He don't talk that much though, so it's gonna be kind of hard.
Yeah, he doesn't talk that much. We have super chat from Athrun Zala 7 with the $5 super chat. Says best part of the show is opening is the opening saying all games running in real time on PS5 like the last two events. Take notes, Microsoft. Okay, thank you for that super chat, Athrun. Appreciate it. And big shout out to a guy from New York for subscribing to BRAP. Thank you for that subscription. Appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show, but I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us this evening. Really appreciate it. And join us next Wednesday as we discuss what Sony actually showed at the PlayStation Showcase, which again airs next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a great show, so you don't want to miss that next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Also want to give a big shout out to our guest this evening, E. Dude, your family. I don't know if I can call you guest, man. You were a BRAP alum, man, but it was great having you on, man. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for the invite. Glad I could make it. Good panel, good talks as always, man. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no doubt, E. No doubt. And if you want to be found, let everyone know where they can find you.
Oh yeah, you can find me on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X. Just kind of hanging around there, trying to make people laugh, have a good time. That's it.
No doubt. And then also want to give a big thank you to Creative Kofi for joining us. Kofi, it's been a long time, man, but it was great having you back on BRAP. And I just want to say Atlas Gods. Atlas Gods.
Atlas Gods, my brother. Thank you so much for having me back on. Sorry it's been a long time. I was really out for about 6 months last year, so it's nice to be back, part of the community, talking great games in a great year so far. So yeah, and then I'm doubly happy for this finally we get the showcase. So I will be tuning in and hearing people's takes next week rather. Exactly a week from now.
Yeah, exactly a week from now. That's right.
Oh yeah, you can get me at creative_Kofi on Twitter. I forgot to put my handle. And always playing imports, guys. Like for example, Disgaea 7. If you're a big fan of tactical RPGs, I've already completed it. It comes out in the West later this year. There's a bunch of other games that I've got lined up, so you can always hit up my Twitter account if you have any questions. If you don't want to spend the money, if you do want to spend the money, and all the between.
Thank you again, Kofi, man. Really appreciate it. We'll have to get you back on the show again soon. And then to the panel, Game Logic. Game Logic, always a pleasure. I don't know if you want to be found, but if you do, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yep, I'm good.
Definitely not at Walmart, though, Game Logic, right?
Or Best Buy. You keep leaving out Best Buy.
Or
Trying to
Best
skate
Buy.
by it.
That's right. I am skating by Best Buy. Yeah. Or maybe Bobert's house, but that's another conversation. Then we got
She's on the market.
she is on the market.
But if she moves to Montana, you won't be able to be on TikTok with her because they just banned it.
Oh, did they really? I didn't know that. Interesting.
Where did they ban it?
Yeah, I saw that.
Montana.
Wow.
Oh man, Montana's an interesting state. Interesting times to say the least.
Did you go? Here, I know it's the end of the show. Did you go over Piscatella's sales numbers?
I did not go over Piscatella's sales number. I was going to do a separate show for that, but yeah.
Okay,
that's gonna be the weekend show.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was going to do a separate show. Why was there something particular that kind of stood out to you about? We could talk about it off air.
Yeah. Yep. No problem.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I was planning on talking about that. Like Forte said, like the weekend show or something when I have time, maybe Friday, but we'll see. Speaking of Forte, you have a show tomorrow with
I do
the one, the only Slamonius Backslap, who probably is sleeping or playing a video game right now.
He's probably sleeping. Yeah. Great to be here with you guys. Great conversation as always. DPS podcast tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on my channel with the homie Slomo Backslap. Going to be talking about all the great things we talked about today, the showcase, how Tears of the Kingdom is amazing and how Slomo's going to be mad at me the whole time that I'm gushing about this game tomorrow. Going to be a great time. Can't wait to put that man through a little bit of agony tomorrow night.
Does he not like Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, come through. Tears of the Kingdom, baby. Come through, check us out, and say again.
Does Slomo not like the game?
Slomo's not buying. He's not going to play it.
Oh,
he's not even playing it.
Okay.
So he says it's overrated. And all this other stuff.
Wait, he hasn't even played it. How can he say it's overrated?
Listen. I try not to put him on blast like that, but it is what the man did play Fire Emblem, and I guess he thinks Fire Emblem is better than Zelda. But okay.
Well,
We'll talk about it tomorrow. If you want to hear all the juicy tidbits, come to DPS tomorrow. It's going to be a great time. Other than that, have a great weekend, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for it today. And then we got B Money. B, thank you again, man. Always appreciate your insight on things PlayStation. Let everyone know they can find you if you want to be found.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101. That's really about it, man. Great show. It's great to have Kofi back. Hamp was in the building. EJ was here, so great time with the fellas. And we'll see you boys next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna need a picture of B Money, so I can infuse his picture over the Nas Nostradamus CD, and then change the name at the bottom of it, and put a new name on that. I think it's fitting at this point. Have a whole bunch of video game consoles behind them, so we don't get copyright strict. Yeah, be a diamond. It's gonna be great. I think I'm gonna work on that. It's gonna be a new icon for Twitter.
that would be pretty funny, man. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, so we'll be back next Wednesday to discuss the PlayStation Showcase. So join us then at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, give me a follow on the Twitters at BRAP_podcast. Probably will do a show about the NPD numbers. It's not called NPD anymore. It's called something else now. But Matt Piscatella released NPD numbers for the month of April, so we'll talk about that later this week. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that show. It'll probably be sometime this weekend, I'm thinking, or maybe Friday, but we'll see if I'm not playing Tears of the Kingdom and if I'm not on Crossfire. So we'll see. But give me a follow at Twitter, BRAP_podcast. Thank you again, everyone. Please do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. Until next time, We'll catch you later. Adios.